Is Bitcoin going to take a bit more of a breather? Is Ethereum going to succumb to peer pressure? Are we going to see XRP fight the good fight and actually climb higher from where we're at right now? What about SUI? Are those hogs going to come home to the call? We have to look at that. Also, Solana, what exactly is going on there as well. I got some technicals to share with you in this video, and I think that you're going to find them insightful and what it could mean going forward from here throughout the month of June for crypto. And guys, if you want to see more of my analyses and hear more of my commentary and talk to me and the other community members, so there's a link down in the description for the Discord. Go ahead and check that out. I'll tell you more about it later. Let me pop up the chart here for you for Bitcoin. And what we're looking at is this gross thing right here. Bit of a head and shoulders pattern that we're looking at right now, threatening to break down below this. And something that we want to pay attention to as we look at this is that rejection that we got after we sold down below the 20-day moving average, came back, hit our heads on it, and now we're threatening to break back down through that support. And if that does fail, we could potentially see this price over here just south of 100,000 kick out of that. The 50 SMA coming up here is just north of 100,000. We absolutely want to pay attention to that as well. The 200 days all the way down at 95,000. I think that we stay bullish on Bitcoin unless something significant changes about the state that we find ourselves in terms of risk. So for Bitcoin, pay attention to the risk environment. We have some huge days coming up here. I keep on mentioning about the Trump appeal case going on. Today is one of those submission days. June 9th is another one. We also have initial jobless claims and continuing jobless claims. And then also we have non-farm payrolls and the unemployment rate. And remember, for Bitcoin, it's been a little bit nuanced in terms of risk. It's actually been tied a little bit to how the risk assets are found, but also it's been that bit of that inflation and the de-dollarization hedge, if you will, at least as I perceive it. So we don't have a necessarily direct correlation, but I do think that the whole risk side of things, economic weakness, I think is still something, or a liquidity, a drying up of liquidity, if you will, is also something that can affect the price for Bitcoin as well. And as we see more liquidity hit, we can see that price climb higher in a risk-on environment. And as we see more liquidity go away, that's something that could be pretty darn negative for Bitcoin as well. So we want to be watchful for that. So let me pop it back up here. And guys, remember what I said about this. So we do need to keep the 111,337. We haven't so far. You can see the sell that we got after that, 100,000 down to maybe 95,000 with that 98,451 rate in between. And I cleaned up some of the technicals that were there for you. If we put up the EMAs just for some more near-term price action, we actually tried twice to break back over the 13 period. That's the yellow line coming across here, couldn't do it. Also got rejected at resistance, and now we're dangling off the 5 period. Sort of a bearish thing. The RSI down near 50, but still above 50. So we're still in bullish territory. We could potentially see that climb. We could see that turnaround. The 5 and the 13 is going to be one of the early signals that we get if we're able to hold on to this support. So just in case this head and shoulders pattern does not get confirmed by falling down through and then retesting for resistance. So we break down here, hit our heads and head back down this way. Man, I got some awesome drawing skills. If we fall down through, we confirm the head and shoulders pattern, then we could look for a lower price. If instead we stay on top of the support and go higher, we got to watch for the resistance area. We want to hold on to that, turn this green again by holding on to it as support instead. And so if I were to reinstate my awesome art skills, they would look like this. There we go. Look at that bounce. And then we could go back and retest the previous high that we had at about 112,000 per BTC. Ethereum, I talked about this before, about the number of times that it's hit its head on resistance. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then yesterday a 6th time trying out the 200-day, still negatively sloped, still long-term. That we see a bit of a bearish sentiment, but near-term, the RSI is still up above 50. We have the 20 above the 50. Let me take down the EMAs for just a moment, focus on the SMAs. We're above the 20 period, which is good. The 50s, but down below the 20, or I should say the 20s above the 50, which is also a bullish sign. Getting above the 200 is the last thing that we're waiting for, and we want to get those faster moving averages crossing up above the slower ones, especially this 200-day that's been repeatedly shown to us to be that resistance, that line in the sand. And man, it's fighting the good fight, but that Bitcoin strength could be something that could definitely influence Ethereum to the upside. It definitely wants it. And if we look a little bit farther left on this, by the way, not only do we have that 200-day that's acting as resistance for us, but also through this time of indecision and kind of yuckiness, grossness, on the weekly chart, as we look back at this, you can see back through August, September, October, where we kept on hitting our heads against that resistance as well. So if we're able to get up above that 27.47, that's the line in the sand for Ethereum. If we can get up above that, I think we're going to have ourselves a good old time. And I think we finally hit that $3,300 price target that I have up here for Ethereum. So I remain bullish on this. I'd be even more bullish though if we could get up above 27.47. I would lose some of that caution. Unlike Bitcoin recently, when Ethereum dropped down below its blue 20-day here, it was able to retake it and hold on to it, but we're still getting those high wicks for selling pressure, still down below that 200-day and still down below 27.47. We have to sit on top of it. So far, we haven't been able to, but come on, Ethereum, you can do it. On to SUI. Here we go. A bit of a head and shoulders look there as well. Not quite, just generally kind of not great for that movement upward. What do we see on this as per the EMAs? Well, we're dangling off the 5. That's a bearish thing. The 13 is about to cross the 50 EMA. That's a pretty big bearish sign as well. So we could see a bit of a further drop. But this is one that I think that as we start to get down near that $3 or below that $3 mark, that we start to see things pick back up for SUI. So for SUI token, we'll keep our fingers crossed on this one. So far, that 496 or 497 price target that I had, and right now we'll just put a stopper in it for the moment. And I think we pay attention to moving averages, to the RSI, and we watch what happens. On a weekly basis, we're still in bullish territory, and on a monthly basis, once again, still in bullish territory. With, you guys can see the selling pressure that's happening up here. It seems to happen anytime we get north of 350. So we'll see if we need just a little bit more time for this price to mature for SUI. Moving into XRP from there, still check it out. We actually have signs of buying pressure just south of where we're at right now for the price action. And we just keep on whittling away, kind of narrowing down. Let's put up the Bollinger Bands for just a moment here. And you guys can see just how not quite as narrow as we had before. In the past, I mean, that was significant. You knew some break was coming at some point in time. And as soon as that volume started hitting and it was the move to the upside, man, this thing just ripped. That's sort of what we're looking at here for the Bollinger Bands as we continue to chop sideways for XRP. We're waiting for that next big catalyst to move us one direction or the other. And right now we just don't have a volume conviction move. We don't have a large move. We need to wait and see for when that comes in for us. Come on, XRP. Once again, you could do it. What do we have as per the moving averages? Well, we tried to cross up above the 5 and the 13. Got stopped at the 50, got turned back around, got rejected at the 13. Now we're dangling off the 5. That's near-term bearishness for us. We'll watch for Bitcoin to give that bigger signal for us. For XRP, now mind you, I do think that when I talk about this short-term weakness, I do believe it to be short-term weakness. I don't think it's going to be something sustaining. If we do confirm that head and shoulders pattern for Bitcoin, yeah, we have a bit of a scary moment, shake some people out, and then I think we have that next launching point coming up. So I think overall, for crypto in general, especially for everything that I have here, long-term bullishness, and that's why I talk about them. Even if we have some pain along the way, it could set up that next opportunity for me to make an entry point for a nice low-cost basis for these plays, or at lower cost basis than what they currently offer. So last thing, Sol. Tossing it up here for you. By the way, guys, further analyses available over at the Discord. Links in the description. 50% off your first month when you sign up using the code word DOCTOR, DOCTOR. There's also coursework for technical analysis and options trading for Stockmo Academy. Stockmo is a personal friend of mine. Code word DOCTOR works not necessarily in the same way, but it does work in the way that it gives you a massive discount. Bundling the courses for options and technical analysis is going to give you the deepest discount on that one. All right, for SOL, which sometimes I feel SOL when I look at this one, as we're down below the 5, we're down below the 13. The 13 is about to cross the 50. We could be seeing 143 pop out of this sometime soon. Retesting that big support down below that from about 110 to 120 is that next massive support that we have. These dark areas in between are those free fall, free rise areas, if you will, for Solana. As we look at it right now, we do have resistance to get back up above, including getting them back on top of those moving averages. But pay attention to these EMAs because they do show that near-term behavior that we can expect right now for, well, really anything for technical analysis, but certainly for crypto, which relies very, very heavily on the technicals to tell the story of what's about to happen. We need to watch for that next big volume move to really help us out for this. Watch for those areas of support, like I said, around 143, maybe down to 120, and I think that sets up for that next move. I do think that every one of the cryptos that I've talked about in this video do have brighter days ahead of them, and like I said, I'm looking for this near-term weakness to set up for that next major opportunity moving forward where I can go long on those positions, especially if it's places where I can employ some leverage to really help make some outsized gains, build some alpha in my portfolio, and then use that alpha to put more into my long-term investments and really continue to strive towards financial freedom. And if you guys are in that same boat, come on over to the Discord, join us. We got thousands of members over there already and a whole team of expert panelists, Stockmo over there, live trading that happens over there, Breadbot, AI tools, advanced charting tools, you name it. The services, the products are seemingly endless. That's over there. And like I said, you have that community support at your back. And if you don't know about options or technical analysis, or you would just like to learn more, the link in the description for Stockmo Academy is going to be your place to go. Code word doctor works for both of them. And like I said, 50% off your first month for the Discord, and you get a massive discount on the courses through Stockmo Academy using code word doctor. Guys, thanks for watching. I am Dr. Stock, Doctor of Education. Remember, my friends, that learning is earning, and we'll see you next video.